Om Jnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Please repeat after me. Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaya Te Namaha. Offering obeisance to the resident of Nilachala, the hill on which Jagannath's temple stands is called Nilachala, the blue hill. Actually, you can't see it's a hill because it's all surrounded by buildings, but there is a slope there. Nilachala Nivasaya, who is eternal, the supreme being, supreme person, who resides here in Puri with Balabhadra and Subhadra, and whose name is Jagannath. We offer obeisances unto him. And that's what we're going to talk about now. Jagannath willing. Hare Krishna. First of all, two warnings. One paramarthik, spiritual, and the other vyavaharik, material. One is that we are in a holy dham. So I know you're all saintly Vaishnavas, but nevertheless a special request not to lose your temper or in any other way behave in a manner that would not be considered proper for that of a follower of Srila Prabhupada. Another warning is more practical, you could say. The sea here is a holy place. Anyway, it's a holy place according to the Puranas. The sea is the father of Lakshmi. All the sacred rivers flow into her. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed here every day while he was residing at Puri, and so many great personalities have bathed here daily. Specifically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that after the body of Haridas Thakur, after Haridas's passing away, he said that now this has become a Mahatirtha, even more purified. So everyone can go and bathe there, but be careful. This is the warning. The waves here are very strong. There are strong undercurrents, and unless you're a very strong swimmer, please do not attempt to swim. Drowning here is not uncommon. I almost drowned myself once. I was saved by Gauranga, my disciple, Gauranga. So please remember this and be very careful. To talk about Jagannath and Puri, to cover some of the main points would take considerably more time than is available to us now. There are some holy places which you can go to, and in one day's talking you can cover most of what is usually said, you could say. Just like in Dhaka, in Gujarat, you can say what's to be said in a couple of hours, the main points. But Puri being an ancient holy place, and there's so much to be said about these places, Puri, Vrindavan, Mayapur. It's not only the original story, but then so many great devotees of not only the original story of how the Lord came here, but then there are so many devotees have come here. There's so much to be said. So where to begin? Well, I guess we can begin by saying, Jai Jai Jagannath Jai. And we can finish with that also. And in the middle, it's all Jai Jagannath. This is the land of Jai Jagannath. In Dwarka we say Jai Dwarkadhish. Here we say Jai Jagannath. The same Jagannath. Actually, Dwarka and Jagannath are intimately connected, as I'll maybe get around to speaking about. But if we speak about the culture of Puri, it's not only Jagannath. Of course, everything is Jagannath. There's nothing different from Jagannath. And Jagannath is absolutely central to the culture of Puri. In fact, not just Puri, but all of Orissa. As you may notice, as soon as you enter Orissa, everywhere there are pictures of Jagannath. That's enhanced by the modern printing press, that Jagannath is, anyway he's everywhere, but particularly in Orissa, all of Orissa, from any part of the state that you enter, you'll find Jagannath consciousness is very strong here. But there are other temples also, as in other places, but it's all linked with Jagannath worship. There are Shiva temples and Mataji temple, there's Durga, various forms of Durga. Everything is it's very intricate, rich, complex. That's a real culture. It's like that. Everything is centered on Jagannath. This is an ancient holy place. Many Vedic texts, they refer to Puri and Jagannath. The appearance of Jagannath is described in various ancient texts. When we say Puri is a holy place, that's obviously true. But the whole of Puri is not just this town. Just like in Vrindavan, we have what is the modern town of Vrindavan, and around is Mathura Mandal, a large area in which there are various towns and villages and different holy places. So this whole area is called Sri Kshetra, or in Oriya, Sri Kshetra. Sometime that begins at Bhubaneswar, encompasses Puri. Konark is also there. Sri Kshetra, obviously, Sri means Lakshmi, means Vishnu also. Another name of this whole area is Purushottam Kshetra, because Jagannath is well known as Purushottam. And you may say, well, it's another name for Krishna. Purushottam is another name for Krishna, so that name could also be stated in relation to any form of Krishna, but that's true of Jagannath. You can also you can say Murlidhar Jagannath, but specifically he is known here as Jagannath, and another name by which he's very well known here is Purushottam. So this area is also called Purushottam Kshetra. It's also called Shankha Kshetra, because Shankha means a conch, and it's shaped like a conch. So these are various names of this area, and all the places are interlinked. Just like Bhubaneswar, that is well known as a place of Shiva worship. So he may think it's different to Puri, it's categorically different, but it's all related. One is supposed to take darshan first of Lingaraj, Shiva in Bhuvaneshwar, and then come to Puri. That's the actual system. And pilgrims have done that since time immemorial, especially those coming from the north, coming from Bengal and other parts north. Nowadays, most people come by bus or train, but still some people coming by bus, they go to Bhuvaneshwar, they get down, they do their darshan, and then they come, and then Ataranala, the entrance to Puri, one is supposed to enter this 18-arched bridge and enter Puri and walk in from there. And then one's also supposed to take darshan of Bhattamangala, the Devi, the deity of Durga at the entrance. Take her permission before one enters into the town of Puri. So Lingaraj is very much at Bhuvaneshwar. Is Bhuvaneshwar and Jagannath. The two names are more or less the same, but one is connected with Shiva, Lingaraj, and the other is, they means the same thing, and the other is connected with Krishna. Lord Shiva resides there on the order of Vishnu. Also residing there is Krishna with Subhadra and Balabhadra. His name there is Ananta Vasudev. And the food prasad of Ananta Vasudev, that goes to Lingaraj. So that is the system. First one should take darshan there, and then afterward one should take darshan here in Puri of Jagannath. So it's all very much interlinked. Of course, this is one of the four dham, what are known as the four dhams, the four principal holy places in the four directions of India, namely, anyway, you all know them. Badrinath is in the north. So that is especially connected with worship of Vishnu in Satya Yoga, Kriteyadhyatam Vishnu. So Badrinath, Narayana, they are performing severe austerities and meditation. So, of course, all the deities are kindly present in all the ages, but especially Badrinath is suitable for worship by the persons in Satya Yoga. Then for worship, for sacrifice in Treta Yoga, Rameshwaram is considered suitable. For deity worship in Dwarapa Yoga, Dwaraka is considered suitable, and in Kali Yoga, chant Hare Krishna and take prasadam. So this is Jagannath Puri. Srila Prabhupada described that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was here, he would have Sankirtan every evening for at least 4 hours, and then afterwards would distribute prasadam to everyone. So it's very suitable for people of Kali Yoga. No brain, no long life, no good luck. Just come here and chant Hare Krishna. In the Shastra it's stated that the demigods see all the residents of Puri as having four-handed forms. I thought of that this morning when I came out of our temporary residence there at Chaitanya Gauriya Math, and there was a man lying down in the road, looked as if he didn't know what the word bath meant. Obviously hadn't bathed for many, many, many days. And in any other country would be considered a wretched, useless beggar, just lying in the street. And then I thought, the residents of the heavenly planet see him with 4 hands. His position is much better than rich, just like we see Shankaracharya, he's saying, Navayache rajang nacha karnaka manikya vibhavam. I don't want the opulence of a great king, a big throne, gold. So who knows? That man, he may be a demigod, he may have been a rich man previously, probably in some life or other, maybe even if not in this life. But for whatever reason, it may be that we don't know why he's come here. We could hypothesize or speculate that he came here because he thought at least it's you can lie out in the street at any time of the year if you get some cover. You don't need anywhere to live, and you'll get some food. By the grace of Jagannath, you'll get something to eat. No one starves here. So even materially, it's a good place to come if you've got nowhere else to go. We could speculate and ascribe the most basic motivations to him, but whatever the reason may be, it may be that he came here thinking like this, Navayache rajam karnaka manikam chavibhavam. He may have come, we don't know, but whatever it is, we should think this is a great personality. The evening that I arrived here, we visited the Samadhi Pitam of Shalabeg. Samadhi Pitam, how do you say that in English? The place of burial of Shalabeg, who was a great devotee. So we went there, we visited there. It's just close by here. And some young men, I guess about 20 years old, they were playing Ludo. I said to them, why are you playing cards? They said, no, we're playing Ludo. Ludo is well, if you know what it is, you know. And if you don't, you didn't miss anything. So I said to them, you're residents of Puri, why don't you chant Hare Krishna? But then I thought, anyway, they're playing Ludo. They could be young men who have got nothing better to do in most parts of the world do much worse things than that. And at least when we chanted Hare Krishna, they joined us in Kirtan. They have a natural love for Kirtan. So, the residents here, whoever they may be, whatever they may appear to us, they're all great personalities. They all love Jagannath, one way or the other. Yeah. Even Srila Prabhupada used to say that if you have no interest for hearing philosophy, just at least chant Hare Krishna. And even if you can't do that, at least take prasadam. So this is a very good place for that. Everyone has, I don't need to give permission, but everyone has full permission to take as much Mahaprasad as you can. That was what the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when they came, it's described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, almost shamelessly, that the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were accustomed to taking prasadam in large quantities. not in small quantities. So, at least when you come here, you can take prasadam up to the neck, and if you have a little space above that, a little more also. You have permission. If you don't need it from me, but anyway, you can take it. Take prasad to your full satisfaction. So, the glories of Sri Purushottam Kshetra are described in the Padma Purana, Kriya Yoga Sara. That's part of the Padma Purana, 11th chapter as follows. But I can hardly read it. Lavanam bho nidhes tire purushottam samirnakam purang tad brahmana shrestha swagadapi sudurlabham. On the shores of the saltwater ocean, because remember there are other oceans also, the saltwater ocean is the sacred city named Purushottam, O best of the Brahmanas. It is more difficult to attain than even heaven. Swargadapi sudurlabham. Swayamasti pare tasmin yatah Shri Purushottamaha Purushottamam ityoktam tasmat tan namako vidai. Because the divine personality of Godhead is directly present in that city, it is called Purushottam by those who are expert knowers of names. Kshetram tat durlabhang vipra samanta dashayojanam tatrastha dehino devair drishyante chat chaturbhujaha. O Brahmana, that rarely achieved holy district measures 10 yojanas on all sides. The embodied living beings who reside there are seen by the demigods as having 4 arms. Pravishantas tutakshetram sarve syur Vishnu murtayaha tasmad vicharana tatra nakartavya vichakshanai. Everyone who enters that holy district assumes a form like that of Lord Vishnu. The embodied living beings who reside... Wait a minute. Those who have discrimination need not be concerned about the truths of this. In other words, don't say, prove it. I don't say anyone's got 4 hands yet. Don't bother. Just accept. It's in Shastra. No need of rational deliberation about all these things. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, it is described how Lord Vishnu said to Lord Shiva, on the shore of the ocean beneath one banyan tree is the most enchanting place named Nilachala, which is also known as Sri Purushottama Kshetra. At the time of the annihilation of the unlimited universe, that place remains intact. I eternally reside at that place and I eat there every day. By the influence of that place, all living entities, even the animals, insects and worms who live within 10 yojanas of that place are seen by the demigods as having 4 arms. That place is said to be the most auspicious place in the world. The Vedas declare that by sleeping at that place, one obtains the result of samadhi. Nevertheless, we request you all to come to Mangalarti. Better than samadhi. And by lying down there, one obtains the results of offering obeisances. By wandering around that place, one obtains the result of pradakshina, of circumambulation. Every word spoken at that place is a prayer offered to me. The influence of that place is so sanctified that one attains the result of eating havishya there, even by eating fish. Yes, stated in Shastra. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments on this to help us understand that we shouldn't eat fish while we're here. Eating havishya is, it's rice boiled with unbroken, what is called split peas before it's split. Dal before it becomes dal. And it's boiled without salt or spices, and it's considered very pious to eat that food, especially as part of a vrata, just like we hear about the gopis of Vrindavan. They were performing Katyayani vrata for the sake of obtaining Krishna as their husband. So for 1 month they ate havishya only. Havishanna it's sometimes called. So that is very pious. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that better than eating havishya is to take Krishna prasadam. So I know you don't want to eat fish anyway, but just in case, it's still better to take Krishna prasadam, not to eat fish. So continuing the Chaitanya Bhagavat, what Lord Vishnu says to Lord Shiva, that abode which bears my name is very dear to me. Everyone who resides there is equal to me. Yamaraj has no jurisdiction to punish anyone of that place. I alone judge the pious and impious activities of everyone there. So that's the end of the quote from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Puri is also known among the local people as Dashavata Kshetra, because according to the Utkal Khanda of Skanda Purana, whenever Vishnu appears in his avatars, he comes here first and then he goes wherever he has to go. Especially that would mean the 10 avatars. And when he winds up his Leela, he again comes here. So Jagannath, he's the avatari, he's the source of all the avatars. So Keshava Dhrita Dasha Vidharupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Keshava, Jagannath, is the source of all the avatars. In one way we can say that, although all the avatars are, well, they're not all eternal, but they all come from Jagannath. Here in Puri, Jagannath is usually referred to as Mahaprabhu. When we say Mahaprabhu, we think of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Here in Puri, among the local people, when they say Mahaprabhu, they mean Jagannath. Of course, that's also a name of Vishnu. That's in Vishnu Sahasranama also. Balabhadra. Balaram here is usually called Balabhadra, or which is of course another name for Balaram. But among the local people, he is more commonly known as Boro Thakur, which means, well, he's the elder brother. So Boro Thakur means God, it means deity, means respectable person. So Balabhadra is Boro Thakur. And Subhadra Devi is known as Ma, mother, or Bhagavati, or Ma Bhagavati. Bhagavati means great devotee of Bhagavan, female, or it can mean female Bhagavan, that she who possesses all the qualities of Aishvaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashasya, Shriyaha, Jnana Vairagya Yoshchaiva, Shannang Bhaga Itingana. So the female form of one who has all these qualities in full is Bhagavati. Purushottam. Yasmat Ksharada Titoham Aksharada Pichotama Atosmi Loke Vedecha Pratita Purushottamaha. This one chapter of Gita, Purushottam Yoga, in which Krishna establishes himself as Purushottam. He is the person above all other persons, or he is above all persons. So in that chapter Krishna describes there are the fallible living beings and the fallible living beings, but he is transcendental to them both, and therefore he is known in the world and in the Vedas as Purushottama. So Purush also means the enjoyer. That's one of the meanings of the word enjoyer. And Jagannath here is definitely very much in that mood. He's worshipped in great opulence. It's a great mystery of Puri, how he's worshipped both in opulence and in a very familiar way. Krishna in Vrindavan he doesn't present himself as a great king. He presents himself as an ordinary person, and the residents of Vrindavan interact with him in a very free and ordinary way. Ordinary in the sense that they don't treat him with special respect. And in Dwaraka there's great respect for Krishna, great affection also, but respect is prominent there. Here in Puri, it's both. He's worshipped with great opulence. He's offered bhog, food offerings all the time. The idea is that his hands should never get dry. He's always eating. He has a little sleep, and then he's eating again. He's eating most of the time. There are 6,000 cooks in the kitchen, and he doesn't get a bloated stomach or say it's enough. He always says more. He's always ready for more. I just suggested that you could fill yourself up beyond the neck, but probably if you're more than 25 years old, you'll get indigestion by doing so. But Jagannath doesn't. He has got tremendous digestive power. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashrita Pranapana Samayuktaf Pachamyanam Chaturvidham. He's digesting everyone's food, so he can digest his own food also. So he's worshipped in great opulence. He's brought out on big chariots once a year. He's worshipped with mantras, big temple on a hill. So a very great opulence. Sometimes, a few times a year, he's dressed in this sona vesh. It's so much gold is put on all ornaments. Everything. The gold that he wears is, in worldly terms, is crores and crores worth of gold which he wears. So Jagannath is worshipped in great opulence, but at the same time, the people of Puri, they think of him as their friend. And you'll find on the Rath Yatra, the priests are going with him, they'll make a point of insulting him. You don't do that, but it's just like some close friends. They may call each other bad names in jest. So they're in that sense, very close. they think of Jagannath not as some very distant deity, but as a family member. So both approaches are acceptable. Or for the residents of Puri, both are there. Although they generally are not very rich. Some of them are. That chief of the Dyatas, he also Jagannath is dressed in so much gold, and he also has so much gold, and he may sometimes wear it. So much. In my life, I never saw anyone wearing so much gold. Did you see on that? Yes. But same time, you talk to him, he's just open, friendly person. So, just like in Vrindavan, we hear that Vaikuntha is the land of opulence, but actually Golok Vrindavan is far more opulence, even in terms of gold, jewels, ivory and all these things. Just that no one notices it much, because they're enchanted by Krishna. So the residents of Puri and of Odisha in general, they're generally not very well-to-do. They're not so rich. With some exceptions. Few exceptions. It's said that Jagannath keeps them poor, so that they will always remember him. Who wants to worship such a God? Not many. So, what else do I don't have my notes? So I was saying he's worshipped like a king. So, opulence, big temple. Until recently, until someone decided it wasn't a good idea, the Devadasis, the girls women are trained, they dance for him only. Their whole life. From a young age, they're trained to dance, and they dance for his pleasure. That kings would keep dancing girls. So Jagannath, he has his dancing girls. But later on, someone decided it was a wrong thing to do. So many people have better ideas. Daily, the astrologer will come before Jagannath and read out what's going to happen today. Sometimes if there's something looks bad in the chart, they'll do some special puja or something for him. He has his own private astrologer. And so many demigods are inside the temple. They're there to serve Jagannath, and they also get served also. The king of Puri is considered his younger brother. And king of Puri is essential for him to be present at Rath Yatra and some different rites. So who is the king, the worldly king, is subordinate to Purushottam. Therefore he's known as Purushottam. Jagannath here is visited not only by humans, but by different demigods. That's described also in Chaitanya Bhagavat, that Vibhishana, the brother of Ravana, he's one of the Chiranjeevis. He's one of those persons who just goes on living. So he comes daily to worship Jagannath here in Puri. So be careful what you say to the local people. It might be Vibhishana in disguise. Could be any different. That's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his Sankirtan, different residents of different parts of the universe would come disguised as pilgrims to join in his Sankirtan. So they look like just some ordinary pilgrims, so they're actually from all over the universe. So that was an added bonus for them. Anyway, the people from all over the universe come for darshan of Jagannath. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was personally present here, they would join his Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan also. So we should also perform Sankirtan here. And the demigods who aspire to take birth on this planet so that they can join in the Sankirtan, they come here regularly for darshan of Jagannath. So they may also, if we're so fortunate, they may join this, the Gandharvas, Kinnaras, Devas, Asuras, Nagas, Rishis, they all regularly come, as do Vibhishana, Prahlad, Bali Maharaj, Vyasadeva and Shukadev. Who is Jagannath? Well, it seems obvious. He's Jagannath, he's Krishna, and Balaram is his brother, and Subhadra is his sister. But many people see him in different ways. In some ways we could say that Puri is the capital of Hinduism. Be careful of that word Hinduism, because we're not exactly sure what it means, and we want to be identified as Vaishnav Das Anudas Anudas, as the servant of the servant of the servant of the servants of Krishna. But for want of a better term, there is this very great and widespread culture with innumerable facets, almost impossible to define exactly, because however you try to define it, you'll find some Hindu who doesn't believe in some of the things that Hindus are supposed to believe in. But here, Jagannath is worshipped, Shiva is worshipped, the Vaishnavas, they consider Krishna, Jagannath as Krishna. There's a whole list of different sampradayas. Subhadra is considered by some as Lakshmi, not as the sister. She is, of course, Lakshmi in one sense. Followers of Ramanuja, they see Jagannath as Narayana. Of course, there's no difference between Narayana and Krishna, but there is a difference also. Subhadra as Lakshmi, Balabhadra as Adi Shesh, who he is, but they ascribe that identity of him as being principal, whereas we would say that as Balaram is principal. Followers of Rama, the Ramanandi Sampradaya, they see Jagannath as Rama, Ramachandra Bhagavan, Subhadra as his Shakti, and Subhadra as Sita, and Balabhadra as Lakshman, which they are. We can't say they're not. Yeah, and it's the Smartas. They will see Balabhadra as Shiva, Subhadra as Shakti, and Jagannath as Narayana. Of course, how we see Narayana and how the Smartas see Narayana, there's a big difference. And it goes on. There's a long list. Those who are followers of Tantra, Shakta Tantrics, they see Balabhadra as Tara, Subhadra as Bhuvaneshwari, Jagannath as Dakshina, Kalika, all female. For them everything is female. If you really want to be a feminist, there's Hindu feminism also, ancient. You can read the Devi Bhagavat and claim that the origin of everything and everyone is Devi. Women rule. And it goes on. List Shaivas, they see Balabhadra as Sadashiva, Subhadra as Bhairavi, the Shakti of Bhairava, who is Jagannath. apparently at some point in time that when Buddhism was prominent, there was a time when Buddhism was prominent in India and especially in Odisha. This was one of the major centers of Buddhism. So at that time, Buddhists used to worship Jagannath and think he's our man. They used to think there's a Buddhist deity. So anything's possible because ye yata mang prapadyante tangs tathaiva bhajami aham. However one approaches Jagannath, he will reciprocate accordingly. But at the same time, to get his full mercy, we should understand who he actually is. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that he reciprocates with everyone as they approach him. But he also tells us how he prefers that we approach him and how we may be fully benefited by doing so. Now it's 9:30. Is breakfast prasadam ready? If it is, I'll stop. If not, I'll go on. Please find out. Tayar hai? Alright, so we'll stop here. Everyone please go and take prasadam. And Jagannath willing, we'll continue 11:30. So please reassemble at 11:30. Jai Jai Jagannath Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.